Everyone, from me, Brent Graham of goodforthegame.co.za. Thursday night, time for the Handicap Rugby Chat that matters. We've got some excellent rugby to look forward to this weekend. Of course, round 3 of the Rugby Championships. And we've also got the 9th round of the Currie Cup. So we only got 2 more group stage rounds left. And we're into the semi-finals. Things getting pretty tense there. And joining me to talk rugby tonight, it's the man himself, the Oraclepedia. Call him what you like. Gavin, great to have you back on the show, mate.
Yeah, thanks very much, Brent. I'm quite excited. And I know you just said the Currie Cup has 2 weeks left. And so the final is the 21st, I think, or the 22nd of September. It used to be at the end of October, if you remember. And I went to the Currie Cup final, Lions, Western Province in 2015, which was the same day as the semi-final of the World Cup that year, to race from Joburg to, or from the town to Benoni to get that final. Missed the Brian Abana try, which was, I think the kick had to be retaken. I can't remember what it was, but I missed the beginning of that game. And at halftime, it was plus 2.5. I remember that. And I ended up having a winning bet because they only won by 2. But yeah, this actually brings up a very important thing because the URC starts the same weekend as the Currie Cup ends. And I honestly think they needed to have concluded the Currie Cup before the URC started. I don't think it's right to have them both on the same weekend. But you and I have discussed these badly scheduled tournaments and weekends up until now. But yes, I'm excited for this weekend. It's great. Bok Friday tomorrow. Everyone's wearing their Springbok shirts and, in my wife's case, a dress, but it's a bit cold in Cape Town right now. Yeah, I'm very excited for this weekend's rugby.
Excellent. Well, welcome to the guys in the live chat. We've got Fareed and 2M Systems on so far. Werner also joining us. Werner, good to have you on the show. We're going to get stuck into the rugby action now. And let's begin with the Rugby Championships, Gav. I'm going to just scroll down here. I've set up the show. So we got the first game. This is, of course, taking place at Ellis Park, where New Zealand actually have a pretty decent recent record. I saw a tweet that the last 8 matches since the World Cup final took place there in 95. They had 4 games each. We had South Africa generally minus 7.5, us also minus 8.5 early in the week. Then the word sort of, we've got a couple of problems there potentially at lock from a team news point of view. It seems to have settled now around the minus 6.5. And I'm waiting for you to tell me that the bookies have got this one totally wrong.
I just keep going back to that show where Terry Payne was sitting on. I think you were there. I can't remember. But anyway, it was that Saturday Super Sport program, whatever it was called. And he's sitting there. He's like reading his book, and they're going, "What do you think?" And he's carrying on and then they say, "Well, Terry, what do you think?" And he goes, "Did you say even money on New Zealand?" And they said, "Yes." That big guy, what is his name? Gary Lenton, he was on there. And he goes,
"Oh, Gary.
Yeah, I'm
you
getting
told the story
even
last
money.
week, Gab, I'm just telling you."
Yeah, no, but I'm going to say it again, Brent, because it's very important. And he goes, "I'm getting even money on New Zealand?" And they said, "Yes." He says, "Well, then I'm going New Zealand. That's crazy." And I'm going to go back to Charles Savage's comment in 1999. He phones me at where I'm working at the time, and he says, "What's the handicap?" And I say to him, "New Zealand have got a C team." He goes, "Gavin, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as a weak New Zealand team." And he was right. And yes, I read an article today on Rugby Pass, I think it was, saying that New Zealand are 3rd in the world and they've lost their mojo, or whatever it is. The reality is there's no such thing as a bad New Zealand team. And I'll tell you this much as well. Russie's not interested in winning this tournament. Russie wants to win the next World Cup. So the first thing I want to say to you, before we talk about this game, I'm going to tell you, Argentina are between 16 and 20 to 1 to win this tournament. I'm going to tell you to punt Argentina to win this tournament. Why am I doing that? Because I'm going to tell you this. Yes, South Africa can win both games. Sure they can. Are they going to beat Argentina in both games? I don't think South Africa beat Argentina in both games. I don't think South Africa wins 6 games here. They might win 5. They might win 4. But at 20 to 1 or 6, even 16 to 1, I'm going to tell you Argentina are the value. No, you can't go out punting South Africa at 1 to 3 to win a tournament. They win every 8 years or 7 years. It's crazy. So go and take some money. Go punt Argentina to win this tournament because Argentina are going to smash. We'll talk about that in the next game. South Africa's handicap, Brent, this is the highest I've seen, even at 6.5. Never mind 7 or 8. 6.5 is the highest we've seen South Africa minus against New Zealand. It just doesn't happen. You never see it. And to go back to the Terry Payne comment here is I'm getting 3-1 New Zealand. I'm getting 28-10. I'm going to tell you to have a little bit of money on New Zealand to win this game. Do I expect them to win? I don't. But the price from a value perspective is unbelievable. Where do you see New Zealand at 2-1 or better? You just don't see it. This is the biggest price New Zealand you're going to get in your lifetime. This is massive. Just have a quarter of the bet that you would have had on South Africa minus here and punt New Zealand to win this game. I expect South Africa to win, but I don't expect them to win by 20. I don't expect them to win by 10. If they do win, I think it's a scraper. 2, 3, 4 points, 1 point, could even be a draw. Yeah, put a loose coin on the draw and back New Zealand to win this game. Otherwise, don't have a bet. But I can't be taking 6.5, 7, 8.5 South Africa. I'm sorry, I just can't take it. It's not for me. It's too big. Rassie, just if anything, he wants to win this game. And I'll tell you, when they come to Cape Town next week, New Zealand, this won't be. If this is 6.5 next week, it's too much. New Zealand have a big chance next week. For me, Argentina to win this tournament. Christ says no. It's about value, Chris. It's not about anything else. You're getting 20-1 about something that can arrive here. This horse is in the race. Argentina are in the race, I promise you. If they didn't win that first game, the first game in New Zealand, they're not in the race. But they got a 5-pointer for that game. And I'm sorry, Australia won't get a single point. Argentina will probably get 10 points in the next week. They'll be sitting at 15 going into the last 2 games against South Africa, and they can win the home game. Absolutely. Why? Because Rassie probably sends a smaller or weaker team there to trial out some people. I'm telling you now, this Argentina price is too big, and South Africa's price is absolutely rubbish. You can't be taking it. Don't put it in multiples. Don't punt South Africa to win this tournament. Rassie's a cleverer man than you think he is.
So just to talk of value, I must tell you, Gav, I had a very small bet on a cycling winner today at 160-1. My biggest ever cycling winner. So I just thought I would.
But that doesn't surprise me, Brent. You find them all the time.
I like my long shots. But I just want to touch on, and mainly for the guys in the live chat here, David saying he'll be taking over 49.5. Now, I've subscribed to the Crow Tips newsletter, and I know the feeling. The Crow Tips is off to a rough start, and I know that feeling too well. I've had some bad runs in my own newsletter. But I see he's also gone over 49.5. And I guess this is one of those games, I think, from a points perspective, it could well be high scoring. But at the same time, I feel that for New Zealand in particular, it's such an important game. For them to make some sort of a statement. It could be something of an arm wrestle as well. I'll tell you what bet I like here, Gavin. I haven't had a chance to look at a price yet. I'm going either team to win by 7 points or less, including the draw. So in other words, no one wins by 8 points or more. I think this is going to be one of those games that are going to absolutely go down to the wire. And that covers, obviously, the narrow New Zealand win and the narrow Bok win. What do you think of? I mean, it's not the sort of bet. I don't like bets like that for big punts. But when I'm a little bit undecided on the handicap, it gives you a nice interest in the game. And I actually like your comment on the draw there. I don't think that at 25-1, I'll be having a nibble on that as well.
Brent, I agree with you. This is a game that you cannot get massively involved in. There's a lot of things that could happen here. We know. I was at Ellis Park when Razor brought the Crusaders and won that game with the I forget his name now. The Quokka Smith Red. I was in the stadium that day. I was heavily punted on them. I was going to make a fortune if the Lions had won the game, and they got very close in the end. I know they lost by 8, but they could quite easily have won. But he's tasted victory there. He's been to Ellis Park. He knows what it's about, and he's got a team that's, I don't know, backs against the wall, wounded animal. You can use all the analogies in the world. New Zealand are in a bit of trouble, but they still New Zealand. This is rugby played by 6-year-olds, and all of those guys have been playing since they were 5, 6, 7 years old. Like my kid has been playing rugby. South Africans have the same thing. The point is, Yes, they're third in the world. This is probably the worst they've been in 10, no, not 10 years, 20 years. I don't know. Russie's not an idiot. He doesn't need to win this tournament. And I don't believe he even gives a flying crap about it either. I think if he wins it by default, he does. Can South Africa win this game by 20? Of course they can. I mean, we saw them beat New Zealand by almost 35-0 until they scored very late in that curtain raiser to the World Cup.
The World Cup
Twickenham. Yeah, the warm-up game. You know, they've beaten us. I was at the Kings Park game when they won 56-15 or 14 or whatever it was. It was ridiculous. Half the stadium had left before the final whistle. Yeah, those days are gone. South Africa's way out of the pit. This is the best South African team we've seen in many years. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be writing off New Zealand here. They can win this game. Of course they can. And they can definitely win the Cape Town game. I just... you can back New Zealand to win the tournament. Sure, Chris, you are right. You're getting 2-1, 5-2. I can't even remember. It was over 2-1 for New Zealand to win the tournament. I wouldn't put a lot of money on that. I just honestly think at 20-1 Argentina value, I can't see Australia coming anywhere there. 49 points. That's an interesting one. It's one of those kind of, and I often find them. I say rather go low, under on this team than under on the total points or whatever it is. In this case, I agree. I think this could, I think New Zealand 49 at 6 is 43, so that's 21. So New Zealand points 21, South African points 28. Nothing gives me confidence here on going over on either of the teams, but I suppose you can go over on the game. Yeah, 49 over. I would give that a very small half a unit. But, this is also one of these games, Brent, and I've said it before, and I've said it many times actually. Everyone thinks they need to get a bet on. A lot of the times, this is one of those games. Watch 15 minutes of the game, then have a punt. There's in-play as well. Don't forget, everybody. In-play is during the game. You don't have to have a bet during the game. If you don't like this -6 and you want to punt South Africa on the board, or you at evens, you want New Zealand to score first, or maybe New Zealand go 10-0 up before South Africa come and win the game by 25. Who knows? I don't know. Anything can happen here. This game, honestly, anything can happen. New Zealand can win this game by 10, and South Africa can win this game by 30. I think Argentina are the value this weekend. I'm not going to get involved in this game. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah. So first of all, I'll move us straight on to the other game. But I do agree with you on Argentina. I think that's a decent price because I can see New Zealand, South Africa going 1-1. And if Argentina go 2-0, then it really comes down to the matches against South Africa. So the price is not bad. Fareed makes a comment here. Rassie cares about this tournament. Fareed, I'm kind of with you on this one. I think Rassie is building, and make no mistake, he wants World Cups. But I think Rassie has built a team now where he feels he can start dominating between World Cups. As important as building depth and that for the World Cups is, and I do think that Rassie is probably more invested in this Rugby Championship perhaps than he has been in the past. But that, of course, is his opinion, but in agreement with Fareed on that one. Let's move on to get to the next game. This is, I think, kicking off around midnight South African time, so it's a late one. Oh, just Shane, very quickly, you asked a question on the weather in Joburg. There is evidently rain coming in a week or two. At the moment, it's been dry in Joburg. I did check the conditions. It looks like it's going to be perfect weather for rugby on Saturday at Emirates Airline Park. So just to mention that. I also looked at the weather conditions in Argentina, and it looks to me, and I don't know, maybe other guys have checked forecasts because some of my forecasts I've checked are unreliable, but it looks like there could be some rain about for this one. Gav, we got Argentina here, -7.5 against Australia at home. Are you going to tell me this handicap's too low?
They're missing a digit, Brent. This should be 17, 20, 25 I would be happy taking. A guy at work said he needed some money to get a new pair of tackies or take his girlfriend somewhere. And I said to him, just take -15, -18, -20. This is way wrong, this handicap. I'm sorry. This team gave us absolutely nothing at home against South Africa. Even that first half of the Perth game in the rain, South Africa, yes, they went into halftime ahead. They butchered about 40 points. Yes, I'm exaggerating. It felt like it. They should have gone into the hut at 25 up, 20 up. Argentina's going to murder this team. This is, you could arrest 16 of these 15 players for attempted murder because Australia, whatever Australia's worst record is on Argentina, it's about to be beaten. This is granny pension stuff. This is race over. I'm sorry, but it's 5 points to Argentina, and who knows what the points difference is going to be. I'll be surprised if Australia score 10 points, let alone any. I think this could be 14-0. I mean, this is a joke. I'm sorry. This is race over. Just pay if anyone's pressed the button on Argentina this week, just pay them. It's over. Bookmakers should pay them. This is race over. Put the result in and pay the button.
Confident stuff from the Oracle. Chris says he's sitting up a little bit in the seat. Farid agrees on the RGs. Farid did make a point about the Box having no chance in Rugby World Cup 27. I do disagree with that, Farid. I think it's going to be a hell of a competitive, but I think the Box are in there with as much chance as any other team, quite frankly. And Shane is so happy to hear Granny's anthem, the anthem Granny's pension. So there we go. Oracle excited about that. So the Crow Tips, you and the Crow Tips, one of you is going to wake up in a good mood on Monday morning. Not both of you, I can tell you that, because he's disagreeing with you here again.
Yeah, right. Brent,
we'll get back to best.
You don't have to go back to best bets, Brent. This is the best bet. This is the best bet of August. And although we may have thought we had best bets up until now, we're on the 29th of August. This game will be 29th, sorry. It's my mate John Parton's birthday today. I did message him at midnight last night, as I always do. Everybody else, I try and be the first to wish the happy birthday. He replied to me a little bit earlier. A couple of days left in August. This is August's best bet. I'm going to suggest this is the best bet of the 8 months we've had in 2024. This is 100% the best bet of the year. I'm sorry, -7 is wrong. It's a digit. I may even suggest it's 2 digits wrong. This could be 40, 50, 60. If Argentina play this game properly and they don't bugger around, I say they win this game by a long way. And there's Johan saying go over 52. Go over Argentina. Don't go over on the total of the game because Australia could score nothing here. And I'm not joking. Go over on Argentina. Don't go over on the game. This is a mismatch by a country mile, and I don't know how else to say it. If Argentina don't win this game by 20, I'll be very surprised.
I'm going to cut you there because if I left you on for another 5 minutes, we'd have Argentina winning by 120 or 130 points.
Yeah,
kept on climbing up. But I mean, the message.
I want to say one more thing, which is not related to that, Brent. I just want to say one more thing. So the guys that like to steal, and I've been in this industry for a long time. You know, I was going to say to you, it was a 1 to 100 something. I don't know what it was, but here you're getting 35% of your money. So you put $100 in Argentina, minimum you're going to get is 35 rand. Some bookmakers might give you 42, 41. Doesn't matter. The point is you're getting 30%. Let's talk about the S&P stock exchange and the NASDAQ giving you 10% a year. In this game, you are getting 30% in one day. I'm sorry. Back Argentina to win the game. If you're very scared, you will get 30% of your money back minimum. This is crazy stuff. This price is way wrong.
I must say, just for the record, I'm probably not as bullish as you, but also like Argentina this week. I think in this first game in particular, they're going to put Australia away. Right, Gav, let's move on to Currie Cup. We've got 4 games, only 2 matches left in the season for each team before we get into the playoffs. This first game is a crucial match. Griquas out of contention, Gav, but the Cheetahs are very much fighting with the Pumas and potentially the Sharks for that 4th spot, so they've got to go for it. I did see 10.5 early in the week, so it looks like a bit of money has actually come for the home team, the Griquas here, and they are generally quite a tough side to play at home. What do you think of this game? Unfortunately, I looked, and maybe the guys in the live chat can say if there's points lines. I haven't seen points lines yet, so I didn't bring them up. But what do you think of this one? Griquas plus 8.5 at home to the Cheetahs.
Brent, I just want to check. Did you consider me as bullish on Argentina there? Is that how I came across?
Slightly bullish.
All right, so all right, let's talk about last week for just 90 seconds. So yeah, there you go, Fareed. Fareed's right. You'll get more money on Argentina this week than you'll get in Bitcoin in 6 months. So yeah, 100% right. You might not beat gold though. Gold is over $2,500. It's on its way to 3,000. Gold is definitely the business this year. But anyway, let's talk about this Griquas team. So this is the game last week where the handicap was 22. And I said I wasn't 100% sure, but I'd like to go the plus. I think it might finish a little bit lower. And you and I chatted on WhatsApp during the game and obviously at the end of the game. And I got to tell you, Bulls minus punters last week were extremely lucky that they won the game by 23. I'll tell you what, the Cheetahs, I'm sorry, I've lost all confidence I had at the beginning of the tournament. I'm going to tell you, don't bother about the 8.5 here. Back the Griquas to win this game on the board. Why? Because they can. They absolutely can. They've shown us in the last couple of weeks they can score tries from anywhere. It's a decent bunch of youngsters. I've got no what's the word I'm looking for here? No, like I have no passion for Cheetahs anymore. Exactly, Johan said it. They've been horrible form lately. I'm sorry, if you're backing Cheetahs here, I'm going to tell you either back the Griquas or don't have a bet. I wouldn't be going minus here. I think it's crazy. Yes, it's 172 kilometers. I can't remember what I did drive that road, the N8 from Bloemfontein to Kimberley. I've done it many times. I was in the army in Kimberley when I was younger. They not go. They travel on a bus, by the way. They don't fly there. They drive on the bus for an hour and a half or 2 hours. I'm sorry, this Cheetahs team, if they win this game, they're winning by a couple. I cannot take -8 here. For me, I'd rather take the 5-2 or 3-1 about the Griquas winning on the board than punting the minus Cheetahs. So it's either for me, it's Griquas or no bet. I wouldn't touch that 1-12 yet. You're 100% right, but you know what? You don't want them to win by 13 and get irritated. I think Griquas can win this game, and if they do, probably by a couple of points. I don't see them running away. So maybe 1-12 is a better suggestion. But I wouldn't be punt. If you want to punt Cheetahs, I'm telling you, put your money in a money box, little piggy bank, whatever it is, and watch the game. And if you're right, reward yourself with a Cheetahs breakfast in the morning. But I can tell you now, you're not having a Cheetahs breakfast. They're not winning this game by minus.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm very undecided on this one. I'm waiting for the points line here. I do expect quite an open game. The Cheetahs pretty much also have to go for the bonus point win here, and that means 4 tries. And it doesn't really matter if they concede tries at the other end as long as they don't lose the game. So I'm looking at points here, but I do expect the bookies are probably going to come out fairly high on this one. Gav, the next game, it's a big one. It's taking place in Midrand, not in Pretoria. It's the Bulls up against the Lions. I know you're not always a team selection guy, but important to note that a lot of the URC guys are back, in particular for the Bulls. They have named a stacked side. So the Bulls actually opened up the Lions. The Bulls actually opened up as favorites here. And the Lions have actually been backed in. And I put a TBC to be confirmed there because at the time, just before I came on, some bookies had suspended the betting. Other bookies had sort of Bulls plus 1.5, plus 2.5. So what I'm saying is, I don't know, by the time, even if you're watching this live, this handicap could have moved and guys can let us know what they see. But the opened up Bulls favorite, the Lions are now favorites, and I've got a feeling the way the money's going that they could be backed into bigger favorites. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, a couple of things worried me. Initially, when I saw that the Bulls were favorites, I think I sent you a message and I said they've got the wrong favorite here because the Lions should be favorites based on the actual play, what's happened up until now. Never mind loading teams with any players. And then I saw your comment on the forum where you said that this is a mid-rand game, and I went to go and look at it, and that's when I sent you another WhatsApp. This looks like it can't hold more than about 200 people around the field, so they don't have a grandstand or anything like that. So it's quite an interesting concept, and I quite like the taking games rural. We've spoken about this before, playing in front of a Kings Park or an Ayers Park when there's only 3,000 people. You might as well go to places and get 5,000 or 6,000. I remember when the Falcons, or Falco as some people call them, moved from Brakpan to Kempton Park, and suddenly they filled up a stadium because people living in Kempton Park hadn't seen live rugby in a long time. So it's quite nice if you do take these games rural. And I know the games in Pietermaritzburg when I was living up there tended to have more support than they did in Durban. So I do encourage, and I think it's a great idea that they taking these games to rural, but I don't know about taking it to a place that doesn't have a grandstand. I think that's pretty poor. Anyway, I had a look on the internet, and it looks like it's just a normal rugby field. Who knows how? I mean, that groundskeeper's under massive pressure. He's got to, get his field to be the best it's ever been. But for me, Lions minus here. If you got, I always said I'm not a Monday or Tuesday punter, but this week I did consider it. I didn't take a bet, but it felt very wrong to me that Lions were plus. They've been the better team in the tournament. They've dominated better than the Bulls have. And you can bring in a couple of URC players if you want to. They're not going to play at peak performance because they want to start the tournament right in a couple of weeks' time, middle of September, near the end of September when it starts. So, I like Lions. I think the Lions are value. But again, if you compare it to the Argentina bet, if you're having one bet this weekend, back Argentina. If you're having a second bet, you can back the Lions. I like them. There's another bet that I'm going to suggest in a minute or two. But yes, Lions for me, Midrand is not Loftus. It's not Ellis Park, but it doesn't matter. The Lions are the better team at the moment, and they should win this game. And they should win it comfortably. Should be over 10. I'd say minus 9.5, 7.5 Lions, absolutely. I don't know about points for Reed. This is an open field.
Another one for points. So
you got to go look on the internet to see this field. It's a nothing. It's like what you had at high school. You see this Cape Paul Derby where they get 25,000. They couldn't fit 25,000 in this entire place. It's very small. It's a single field. It doesn't have any. I don't know.
But I'm worried. Yeah. Gav, I mean, for me, the amount of spectators is not that important. Can you tell what size the pitch is? Because for me, and I was going to ask this question now, if the pitch is if it's a lot narrower and smaller than a Loftus or whatever, for me, that would lend itself to a low-scoring game. So maybe there's something to be a bit concerned about. But I mean, it's a good point. I think if you do your homework here, maybe a drive out for me tomorrow morning to Midrand could be on the cards. Go pretend to enroll a kid in the school and go and have a look at the field, eh?
That's right. And if you go on Saturday, you get to eat as well. I mean, I realized that with my kids' school, all the vagrants arriving on Saturday to go and get themselves some food and coffee and whatever. And no one says anything because they start shouting, "Hey, Johnny, go, Johnny, go, Johnny." And like says, "Who's that?" "Well, is that your kid?" "No, it's my grandson." Whatever. And you can get yourself free food at schools on Saturday if you're very clever. I'll do a YouTube video on that one day. But I'll tell you, Brent, I remember the small fields when they played the sevens in America. They went from, because standard rugby fields are 70 meters apart. And in America, those NFL fields are like 52 meters, 54 meters. So there's quite a big distance, narrow ability, I suppose. So yes, will that decrease points? I suppose it will. But if the length of the field is shorter, which I've seen as well, what they do is they don't fiddle with the 22. The 22 is always 22. But they fiddle between the 22 and the 10. They make it smaller. So the halfway line's in the right place. The 10-meter line's in the right place. But the distance between the 10 and the 22, because they measured away from each other, is smaller. So I've seen 70-meter rugby fields with a 22 in the right place and a 10-meter in the right place and a halfway line in the right place. So, yes, I don't know what they've got over there. As you said, if you want to go and have a mid-range coffee, go down and...
And with the 50-25 rule, that would be quite interesting if it was a shorter field, because it definitely brings more 50-25s into play there. But, Gav, let's move on to the next game. This is a big handicap. I handicapped it somewhere in the mid-30s, I think. It opened up a bit lower, but 32, the Sharks have also named the URC team here. So there's been big money. The Griffons, well, they've beaten quite a few handicaps this season. 46.5 points, Gav. What are you going to tell us? I know you've done pretty well on the Griffons this season. Are you going to be continuing with them, or is the Sharks to hammer it home?
No, the Sharks aren't beating this handicap, Brent. It's too many points. I think you had 32, if I remember correctly, what I saw on Monday morning. I thought about this and I thought probably 25 to 28. So when I saw your 32, I thought to myself, that's a bit big. But now I'm seeing 46 and I'm thinking it doesn't matter who's on the field here. 46 is too much. It's just how many, without actually looking at anything on the internet here, I'm going to say that this 46 has probably been beaten once by that game that was 80 or 85 or something they got beaten by. I think the Griffons have arrived in 46 almost in every game, including the Bulls at home. 46 is too much. You can have a small bet here on the Griffons, and again, let the Sharks score 1 or 2 tries to start off with, and then go and take them at plus 55, 58 in running, in play. I saw a comment earlier. I'm not joking. If you're clever and you watch the stuff, if you're not sure about a game, watch 10, 15, 18 minutes of the game and then get involved. You don't have to have a bet before the game. Have a bet during the game. You can do it. It's allowed. It's not illegal or anything like that. And in my analysis of betting over the years, there's some clever people that know what they're doing in running. And I'm a half-time punter generally when I say in running, or when there's a proper injury break where I can see that prices are going to be stable for 2 to 5 minutes, depending on how long it is. I don't get involved between lineouts and scrums. I wait for a proper break in play, and then I'll have a bet. But in a game like this, I think in play, nothing wrong with it, and there's nothing wrong with taking 46.5. You've got a huge start. What often happens in these games, Sharks want to win the game, so they'll go out and score the first 3 tries, like we've seen before. Team goes up 21-0, 28-0, and then what do? They take off their players because they've got an important game next week. I don't even know who the Sharks are playing next week, but they'll pull off their players. They don't want to injure them, and the Griffons will come flying back. 46 is too much. On any other day, I'd say, in fact, let's talk about this as if this team had to play 100 times, if this fixture had 100 times, I'm going to tell you, I'd battle to see the Sharks beating this handicap in 50 of them. So for me, the value is with a 46, and it's too much. Your 32 and my 28, game on. But 46, too much.
Yeah, and it's quite just an interesting point that I've been thinking about with all these players coming back. Guys who've been preparing specifically for the URC. They're now getting a game. Now, the reason they're getting a game is quite simple. The coaches want to give them some match practice and that sort of stuff. They're not necessarily putting them in. I mean, the Bulls, the Bulls-Lions game, even, they're not necessarily putting them in to try and get that playoff spot. I mean, the playoff spots are almost decided already. So I think when you see the players' names, you're expecting the guy to come in as if he's been playing for 3 or 4 or 5 weeks. Bear in mind, these guys have been, I would imagine, on a totally different training strategy. So they sort of been peaking up to now start their URC season. They're now getting a run. And I think it's a trap that we could fall into as punters, to think URC team is just going to click from the start and run people over. It may well be a case that the URC guys are quite rusty, which would play into your Griffons plus there. I must say, don't have a firm view on that. Let's quickly bring a question in from Shane. I haven't read the question yet, Shane, so I'll read it out. Does Oracle agree bookmaker over round margin is higher in play, as they know they can get picked off by in-play shrewd punters?
Shane, the answer is I'm going to call it an obvious yes, but it's not 100% yes. When I say that, scared bookmakers apply that principle. But as in every price, Shane, one of them's wrong. We always look at, I remember in the late 90s, early 2000s, they'd price up a horse race at 140%, which we don't see today, the day before. So you're getting, they're down to 130, 128, 126. But the point is, when they were betting at 140, they were so scared. But the reality is one of the prices was wrong because that horse was going to win. But not only that, it was not expected to win, but it had value in its price. It could have been a 16-1 shot, to 8-1 shot, 7-1, whatever it is. So for me, it's not about the margin so much as if you shop around, and I always advise this. So you're sitting at halftime. Halftime, you've got 15 minutes. Yeah, it's a 12-minute halftime, but you've got 15 minutes generally. So what you should do is you should get wherever you've got an account or wherever you've got money you funded, have your 6 websites open and you start to look at them from like minute 36, minute 37, minute 38. That's what I do. And at halftime, I have my bet. When I've got every price in front of me and I can see, yes, there's minus 12 there. This one's got minus 11, but I don't like the price at minus 11. The price at minus 12 is better. I'm expecting 13, 14. So you start this whole process by writing down on a piece of paper what you're expecting to see. So before you've seen any prices, you price the game up yourself. And you say, this is a minus 12 position right now. And this is I expect to get 9 to 10, 1.9, whatever it is in decimals. You write down your stuff, and then you take the time. Because remember, there's no pressure at halftime. Halftime, there's no pressure. There's adverts on TV. Yeah. Your wife or your partner's gone to the toilet. You filled up your drink already. You're ready. This is work time. The game time is the leisure time, watching the game. Halftime is work. Get everything done before work time. Write everything down. And if you think something should be, 12 to 10, 15 to 10, and it comes out bigger than that, punt it. If it comes down lower than that, and I'm going to suggest go the other way. If it's too much of a margin, don't be scared to say, these guys have got it wrong. I thought they'd win by 13, but you know what? You've given me a price so big on the other team, but I'm going to forget about what I said earlier. I'm going to have a smaller bet on the other way. And, that's where I've become successful with this kind of thing. I don't panic. I don't bet in play. When I say in play, when they're actually running with the ball, my hands are off the computer. Don't touch anything. I'm out. I write down what I think I'm going to get. And if there's a long injury, like if you see an injury or a red card where they're talking, you can see there's going to be a break in play for, 90 seconds, 2 minutes, then you can have a bet. But I'm not interested in this trying to have a bet right now because I saw something. The other problem is I'm on streaming. So I know, Brent, I remember you, when they first brought out the pause button, you'd paused the game, I remember you told me, and you were like 40 seconds behind.
I was betting about 3 minutes behind, yeah.
Yes, or whatever it was. You thought there was value, but you were behind. And what DSTV used to do is I'm going to put my finger here. It was the top of the screen. They used to tell you how far you were behind, but it disappeared after a few seconds. So I got caught with that as well. But I'm on streaming now, so I know I'm at least 30 seconds behind. And at halftime, I know that there's no delay. I'm safe. The prices are good. So to answer your question in a nutshell, Shane and I have been rambling for a while, is make your price first. Write your price down on a piece of paper, what you want to do, what you're expecting the price to be. We can go and say you go to your pub on a Friday night, you're expecting to have a beer, 20 Rand a beer, €1, whatever, in your money. And you arrive there and it's €1.50, and you're going to go, hang on a second. I'll go down the street where I'm going to get a 120 or 110 or, 22 Rand beer or whatever it is. And then they say to you, well, why aren't you having one? No, well, I'll go down the road. So I don't mind traveling a few kilometers in a car or walking a little bit longer to get a better price. So you need to know what the price is before you see the price. Because a lot of people see a price and they go, I don't know if this is right or wrong. And now I know, as I said with Brent, when he put the normally with this show, he puts a handicap up. I don't even know what the handicap was. And you might think I'm a moron. It's Thursday night and I don't know what the handicap is. But I'm happy behaving like that. It's worked for me. I don't need to punt on Monday morning and Tuesday morning. I'm a Wednesday, Thursday punter, Friday morning punter, even a Saturday morning punter. So I'm going to carry on going forever. I can talk
we
for
might
hours.
be here on Saturday morning punting, actually.
Yeah, we'll move on to the next. I'm sorry, Brent. It's a bad habit of mine. I'll get rid of it.
I think it's an interesting chat and a good strategy because I'm like you. I never bet in play as such. And the reason I never do it is because, yes, there's delays, but also the bookmakers are constantly suspending the markets as things happen. It's actually just bloody frustrating. So, yes, when there's a break in play or halftime, I'm certainly aligned with you on that one. But let's move into the next game. There has been some money here for Province. I took 15 to 10 early in the week, Province. My theory was that they would name a bit of a stronger side. Pumas also haven't impressed me this season, but we got a situation here where the Pumas are currently half a point favourite. Gavin, this game, of course, being played in Cape Town.
Yeah, I'm a Pumas punter here, Brent. I think this is wrong. I suppose I can say it's wrong, but you can't have -5 Pumas in Cape Town. I mean, we spoke about that the other day with the Sharks Griquas game when I said you can give me a year and I can throw a dart and at -6, I'm going to win. I'm going to win the bet.
Mm.
In this case, geez, this is I don't know how I would have priced this up. It doesn't feel like it's wrong. It doesn't feel like it's way wrong. It doesn't feel any. I have no feeling for this. It's almost like someone says, I've got a pizza here. What is on it now? I've got feta on. I've got a bit of tomato. And you don't feel like a feta and tomato pizza. So you go, well, I'm not hungry. I don't know. I don't know what to do with this game. Now, this is another one. Let's watch 10 minutes, 15 minutes of it. I do feel that the Pumas have got more to gain from this because of their position, and they didn't quite get what they wanted last week. Western Province not going to win this tournament. They've disappointed. They're absolute rubbish. Everyone's beaten them. In fact, I said that last week. I think the only 2 games they'd won was the games against the Griffons. So, yes, Pumas should win this game. Probably a bit of value. But I don't know if I'm right because in previous years they've started big pluses. I don't think the Pumas have ever been favourites in Cape Town. So it's Dinesh, they do look like they got the wrong favourite. But, well, not the wrong favourite. The Pumas should be the favourite.
The favourite's not big enough, I think, to Gavin.
No, but I think originally it wasn't Western Province favourite early in the week, Brent?
No, I made. Let me just quickly check what I went here.
I'm pretty sure I saw Western Province -1 or 2 earlier in the week.
Let me quickly look. I've got the opening lines that came out early in the week. Just my computer.
I'm pretty sure Western Province were favourites.
I'm pretty sure Pumas actually started. No, because I took 15-10. Yeah, I took 15-10 Western Province early in the week, and there was +3.5 opening line. So the money has sort of come for them there. Walters is pointing out they played at Stellenbosch. That's probably at the Darnie Craven. Hopefully he will have done his lines of meth by then, Walter, and be ready for the game. T. Kawenga, I just want to touch on this because he says you should be on Twitch. Do you know what Twitch is, Gavin?
No, never heard of it. I'm 53. Sounds like when your shoulder starts moving. I'm twitching.
I think it's a
yes, I have Twitch. I'm not on Twitch.
Yes. Yeah, but I'm interested in that one. Maybe let us know why I should be on or what we should be looking at. But anyway, Western Province should scrape it if Lebok plays. I see he has been released by the Bok camp. So, yeah, I actually like the province here, but I took it once again. I took it on the initial price. I saw the line moving in Western Province's direction, rightly or wrongly, and I took the value on Western Province at 15-10. If I wanted to now, I could trade out. I'm not. It wasn't a big bet. But I like Province here a bit, but I'm going to wait and see. I don't think these teams are out yet. I'll wait and see and make a call. The Pumas are going to have a lot more to play for than Western Province. That's for sure. So we'll see. And we got Johan saying Western Province will scrape it if Libok comes through. And Freedom Breakthrough, that's a long name, 3.0 coaching. Also, Kitshoff and Lebok have been sent back to play Currie Cup rugby. So as rubbish as they are, I think they may win this one. And yeah, I tend to agree with you then. And Gav, I've got to say, this Pumas side this year, they haven't been awful, but they haven't been the Pumas side of past seasons. They haven't, and they've taken 2 hammerings at the hands of the Lions. And for me, if this Western Province do get a few players back, I'm quite comfortable for Province to edge this one. But anyway, that brings us to the end of the rugby chat. I know there's MPC on as well, but neither Oracle and I are really into our MPC. You must keep an eye on the Good for the Game forum. The boys do post on there. And if we have Henrik on the show, we know he always contributes a little bit on that as well. But Gav, let's talk best bets. I don't think I have to ask you what is your best bet on the Rugby Championships. It's Argentina by plenty.
100%, Brent. Sorry, just one more comment on that Western Province game. Of course, Western Province can win, but they've been so diabolical in this tournament. I'm looking at Johan Esthuizen's bet, and I've got to tell you, I'd go Argentina. I would slightly amend his bet. I'm not going to say it's not going to win. It's good, but I just don't think Australia are going to contribute to that points total.
You just take Argentina points.
Yeah, I'm just going to say go over Argentina points or take the minus on Argentina onto the other 2. I agree, and you'll get something close to 11-2, 6-1, depending on which handicap you take. For me, if you're going to have one bet this weekend, take Argentina. Last week, I missed on the minus Sharks the double at -9.5. Obviously, the Lions won comfortably. They were never in trouble. The Sharks looked like they were going to get over the line, but they didn't in the end, and they won by 8. But both obviously Dog's going a bit berserk there. Sharks, obviously, the handicap one, and the Lions handicap one last week. But for me, and you know what, if you're going to watch the South African game, you're going to braai in the afternoon, you're going to have a couple of beers. I'm going to tell you, go to sleep at 7 o'clock, have a power nap until about 11:30, wake up and watch the other game, because that game you're going to enjoy more. Yes, as a Springbok, obviously, South African fan, lived here my whole life, all of that stuff. Yeah, but I think from a money perspective, the Argentina game is the one to watch. At midnight, it is a night game. I just want to let you know that. So normally when South Africa plays Argentina, we have a 9 o'clock game, which is 4 o'clock. They're 5-hour difference. So it's a 4 o'clock afternoon game. But a game at midnight is going to be a 7 o'clock starter, so 1900 local time. So we'll be dark. We'll be in the lights. I don't know what their lights are like. It's been a while since I watched a midnight game in Argentina. I don't always watch them. I do watch a couple of them, but I haven't watched for a while. I can't even remember. But I don't know how they perform at night. It might be a little bit less points. But honestly, I don't expect Australia to score. Whatever's Australia's quotas, again, I'm going to call an under Australia points here. But yeah, if you have one bet, take Argentina. If you want to add a second bet, throw the Lions in. If you want to add a third bet, throw the Griquas in, and then the Griffons, and lastly would be the Pumas for me. But yeah, that's my weekend. I'm happy.
Excellent. Well, I'll be out with the newsletter best bet. I came out on Saturday last week because most of the games on Saturday, but with the two games taking place on Friday, I'll probably try and get it out. I've sort of changed the strategy and it's worked quite nicely. I do share a bigger bet, but I don't call it a best bet anymore. I just call it weekend plays and a few varieties. It's been on quite a nice run. Now, I know every time I say that, then things go pear, but let's hope we can keep it going. So there is a link down in the description box below to that, and also to the forum where other guys have been posting their views. I thought Shane's comment was great. We'll let that end the show for us. Great show and wisdom, lads. I can assure you the Oracle and old BG don't often get used in the same sentence as wisdom, so it's great for us to hear. Gav, great to have you on the show, mate, and we'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, thanks very much, Brent. Yes, obviously I do have, and you do, and many of my friends and people we know mutually have lots of wisdom, but you got to find it. It's not quite needle in a haystack stuff, but you've got to dissect the rubbish. I do waffle and carry on, and I know it's a bad habit, and I know people don't like it, but I've got to the age where I don't really give a flying crap. So I will say what I want to say when I want to say it. But yes, there are some gems within my words. You just got to find them and be a good farmer and a good nitpicker and a good needle picker, whatever it is. So yes, thanks very much, Shane, and everybody else. Enjoy the weekend, and good punting.
Thanks to the boys in the live chat. And I mean, let me tell you something. When it's 1 a.m. and you look at your phone and you got a 23-minute voice note from the Oracle, you know that you're playing that baby at least 1.5. Thanks, everyone. It's been a great show. And we'll see you next week for the Handicap for Rugby Chat That Matters.